I'm going to show you a really cool feature that the SawStop CTS has that I bet you didn't know about. I've been using SawStop table saws exclusively since the first job site saw came out. I really liked it before that, but I have no place in my workflow of building and remodeling and the projects that I do for one of those bigger saws, and they didn't offer a job site or portable saw. So I got the first two, the job site and then the job site pro, and then they came out with the CTS, the even smaller one, and I jumped right on it because that's right up my alley. Smaller the better. Number one feature of SawStop is in its name. If your fingers come in touch with this blade, it stops. It has a chunk of aluminum that fires off with a spring, hits that blade, and it falls below the table so fast that if you're looking right at it, you can't even see it. And though I've never touched the blade with my fingers, I have caused it to trip by accident, and it is amazing. It's boom and gone. When that happens, the brake and the blade fuse together, and most of the time the blade is unusable. After that, you got to be careful because even if you get off the brake, the teeth could be damaged or loose and go flying. So best to just go with a new blade, which sounds like a lot, but compared to cutting one of these guys, it's pretty cheap. How do I know the material that I'm going to cut isn't going to set the brake off? To turn on a SawStop saw, it's a two-stage process. First, there's a power button, and that sets everything up and makes sure that everything is working right. And when we have just a solid green light, we're ready to cut. We can turn on the saw. It works like any other table saw, except you have that safety brake that's running. If I touch my finger to the blade, you can see that I get a red warning, and then it resets. So that tells me that I can't run my finger through there or it's gonna set off the brake. Then what about any other material? So I've got a piece of trim. Obviously this is not gonna set it off, but I can take it and touch it to the blade and it stays solid green. You don't get any red. Then there's material that are conductive like metal. When I touch it to the blade, so we know that we cannot cut metal or it's going to trip the brake. Now this is not going to be wet. This is treated though, and when I buy this 5/4 and 1x, particularly the 1x, it's pretty wet, and I would be leery to run it through the table saw without putting it in the bypass mode. But we'll go ahead and touch this to the blade anyway. And sure enough, it's not conducting. So is it possible that the outside of the wood is not that wet, and if I touch it to the blade, then it would be green light, ready to go? And then maybe it's really wet inside. A fail-safe way to test your material to see if it's going to trip the brake, bypass mode. That means the safety of the SawStop is not there for you, so you have to be really careful. In that mode, if your hand comes in contact with the blade, just like any other table saw, you lose. To put it in bypass, right next to the off and on switch is another switch that you rotate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that to the right, full stop, pull the red paddle to start the motor, hold it until the motor is full speed, and then I'm going to let go of the dial. The green light will be flashing. If the brake were on, the green light would be solid. So you're going to know when that green light is flashing, we have no protection. Then we take the material that we question and we start cutting it on the saw. If the material would not trip the brake, then nothing's going to happen down here. You're going to have that just slow flashing green light. The red light's not going to do anything. If the red light starts flashing, that is telling you that if the brake was not bypassed, then it would trip the brake. On green light, I'm good to go to make normal cuts with the brake on. Now I'm going to rotate, hold it, and there was one flash of the red light. Now I'm going to pull this on, The light flashed green slowly the whole time. The red light did not come on. Therefore, I know that this material would not trip the brake, and I could then leave the brake active. If you are cutting wet material that will trip the brake, it's important to understand that the safety in the SawStop line is default. Now that I have turned the blade off, if I turn it back on, the light's going to stay solid green and the brake is engaged. It automatically defaults to that. You have to disengage it every time the blade is turned off. So once I turned it off and it spun down, then it reset. And if I came back with more wet wood, I would have to go through the process of holding that and starting it. And that just goes to show you that SawStop, a really high quality, high-end tool, has thought through everything to make it work and make it work well for you in the shop or in the field. Only two lights, red and green, but their condition and combination of conditions can tell you 13 different things. So it's nice that they put it right on the side of the saw. But I took a picture of it. It's easier for me to look at that and go, okay, I know what that means. I got my SawStop CTS just over a year ago when I think I got serial number 1. So I've been using the CTS as long as anybody, and I'm thinking about doing kind of a deep dive review on it. So let me know in the comments if you want to see that. I'm kind of busy for a bit, and when I do it, I want to have bullet points so I don't miss things. I've also mentioned that I'd like to do one on the Capex. I think that one, I'm going to really plan that one. I know people want to see it. That saw there has been part of the wood shop, the smart wood shop, since before there was a smart wood shop. This predates this channel. This channel is 13 years old. That saw has been my saw in the shop, in traveling, in doing jobs since then, before then, and it built all of the smart wood shop, the benches, the accessories, the whole build out inside the smart wood shop and the previous smart wood shop, which was Art, and the big truck before that, and the trailer before that. This saw has done it all, and it's pretty amazing, and I'd love to tell you about it. So I've already got enough people that really want to see it, but again, if you want to see that review, then let me know. I think it's going to take a little more work, and I'm probably looking at sometime in the first quarter of 2025. We'll see, because I really want to do a good job with that, and of course with this, as with any tool. But these two are a little different because I see a lot of reviews where people get like 6 different miter saws and they'll just do their comparisons. But there's something about using it being your primary tool, you're making money with it, you're doing projects with it. You really find out the minutia, the little things that matter more than the big specs. This size of blade, or this, how much, it's supposed to vacuum and all of that. Just real world stuff. And that's what I'd like to do with both of these. I'd like to take a few seconds and thank our sponsor for these videos, the Smart Wood Shop. That's right. All of the videos here, all 1,500 of them, are all sponsored by the Smart Wood Shop. If you want to support our efforts here and have us make more videos, there's a way you can do it. It won't cost you anything, and that's just to hit that thumbs up button. And if you like these videos and you don't want to miss them, then subscribe and ring the bell, and that'll tell YouTube, hey, let me know when the Smart Wood Shop puts up a video. And if you'd like to build a smart wood shop, a smart bench, a smart station, a smart router table, or any of the accessories that work with the smart system, there's a link in the description of this video down below. Mahalo.